Hello and welcome to the Retro Game Time Machine podcast. At the time of recording, it is August 13th, 2020. I'm Ash the Newton, and joining me through a series of tubes is Andy the Android.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. It's hot in these tubes.
Yeah, it's. I'm sure it's hotter in your tubes, but my end of the tubes is getting kind of warm as well. I was not expecting this today, and it's going to be the same tomorrow.
Yeah, it from looking at the forecast, because someone called me out on being a weather nerd, but it's gonna be pretty warm it's gonna be in the 90s for the next foreseeable future. So
Yeah, I'm also supposed to get above 90 tomorrow, which is weird because that doesn't happen too often. Well, I guess it's not weird. It's summer, but still, I mean, where I grew up, 90 was cool this time of year. But I've totally adapted, and now 90 feels stupidly hot.
Yeah, agreed. It, but yeah, I guess what have you been up to?
Um, just a lot of playing what this episode is about, GTA San Andreas, and some other things which I'll touch on later. But that, and then recently went over the weekend to a local farm that does now like a petting zoo type thing. Um, yeah, they're doing a petting zoo type thing, and they do just a general tour of their farm. So I did that with some friends, a couple, and their 6-year-old. It was their daughter's birthday, so yeah, so we did that. Of course, socially distanced with masks. But it was really nice to get outside of the house for a couple of hours and see some people that we haven't seen in months, because we've been pretty much in the house, and so have they. So they also seemed like a pretty safe couple of people to be hanging out with, since they don't go they haven't been going and doing anything. So yeah, I mean, that's games, work, and that have been really the only stuff that's been going on. What about you?
Not too much really. I've been kind of sticking around the house a little bit. I went and saw my dad last weekend. Had a good visit with him. I was just kind of itching to get out of the house. So
Yeah.
I try and do it in a way that I can just, drive straight to his house without making any stops, and then do the same thing on the way back. So
Yeah.
just to avoid any potential contact with anyone. Um, is that may be infected with a deadly
Yes.
virus. But
All those zombies walking around.
yeah. Yeah.
Because that's the part of 2020 we've hit. The zombies are here. So if anyone's listening in the future, that's where we're at.
Okay.
Just kidding.
The part with the zombies. Yeah. It's I mean, shoot, it seems like we get all kinds of bad news all the time. So
Yeah.
um but definitely the warm weather makes me want to stay inside now that I have air conditioning, central AC. So
Yeah.
um I got invited to go somewhere this weekend, and I was like, no, I think I'll just stay in my somewhat moderately temperature house.
Yeah. Sam, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. Um, but I'm sure it'll be nice. It'll
Yeah,
be cooler.
I won't be working. I'll tell you that.
Yes. Yep. All right. Well, I guess let's get into the news, but real quick, I have another correction. um, well, I guess not a correction. I didn't state it would be fact, but I have since learned that it really was just a rumor about Xbox Live becoming a thing that would be maybe free. No, it's not, sadly, but oh well.
Did they say anything, or was there anything that you found that might suggest that Game Pass may be included with Xbox Live at some point?
I don't know,
Yeah.
actually. If I recall correctly, it was just a like, nope, that thing that people are saying isn't true. Um, I don't know if there was any more clarifying information, at least not that I can recall.
To support this maybe correction of the rumor with another rumor. I heard that Apple may be bundling some of its services, its various services together, that might allow you to maybe save a little bit of money just by having multiple bundles, such as Apple Arcade and iCloud Drive, or iCloud Storage, I should say, and Apple News Plus, so
Hmm,
Apple TV Plus. They have all these services, so and they might be bundling them together, and
yeah. Everyone
maybe
forgets about iTunes Match.
yeah. Oh, I don't know if that is that still a thing. Can you still pay for
Yes,
iTunes
you
Match? Oh my
can.
god.
It's still $25 a year, and
Wow.
I've been paying it, which I realize I probably have enough storage space now that I don't need to, and I could probably cancel that come this December.
Yeah, that's
Um,
I think somehow I felt like I got looped into where I kind of got iTunes Match anyway. Somehow. Anyway, maybe I don't know. I don't listen to the music that I actually used to sync onto my iPod because it's terrible. So I
that's
just
fair.
kind of ignore that music exists, because I was right. I became a teenager when the iPod was released. So
Gotcha.
yeah, I listened to a lot of bad music then.
Yeah, I could go into how I just rediscovered my mini disc player and all the terrible music on that, but I'm gonna try not to stray too far. I'll take us back down the path towards the news. The first up is how Spider-Man in Marvel's Avengers is going to be exclusive to PlayStation. Now, to be totally fair, I didn't really know anything about this game until this came up and there was an uproar, at least from a very vocal minority of people. Or it could be the majority. I don't know. It's the internet. Um, but I do, with looking into this, I do think it is a little bit strange to completely reserve one character exclusive, and I think there's also going to be some exclusive cosmetic content coming to the PlayStation version of this game, um, if the article that I read is correct. So yeah, I think it's a little bit weird, that they're creating this exclusive content for one platform and
Mm.
only one platform. um, I don't know, what do you think?
I think one of two things happened here. I think either um, when this game was being made, they came to Sony and Sony might have asked, "Is Spider-Man going to be in it?" And they said no. And then Sony said, "How about we give you some money and put Spider-Man on it for our PlayStation platforms?"
I hadn't thought of that. That could be a possibility.
Or it is possible that Sony laid down claims, says, "Oh, you're putting Spider-Man. Actually, we have some rights. We have exclusive video game rights. You can only put them in on PlayStation." So one of those two things, I think, in my mind, happened.
Yeah.
There's probably totally, maybe 10 or 15 other reasons what could have happened there, but those are the first that pop into my mind.
Yeah. I just think it's kind of sad that, like, you can pay whatever the top dollar amount is for whatever, like, the ultimate or the deluxe or the premium edition is for the game, and you can do that on Xbox and you can do that on PC, but you're still not going to get that content even though you're paying the same amount of money.
Yeah.
Um and I don't know. That just I just think that kind of sucks.
Yeah,
Um
it almost reminds me of like Bayonetta 2 and 3. And how Nintendo has ended up publishing those, so it ended up being a Nintendo exclusive. But I thought it was, that people were upset for the same reasons, like, "Oh,
yeah,
Bayonetta
that's fair.
1 was on these platforms." But probably the truth is that most people have come to is that there wouldn't be a Bayonetta 2 or 3 if not for Nintendo
Yeah,
coming
that's
in.
true.
So
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Um, and one thing that is on this topic that you and I started briefly talking about right before this, which I thought was like at least easy for me to say, that it's worth mentioning, was you said something about the Soul Calibur games, or at least starting, I think, with Soul Calibur 3.
Yeah. What in the GameCube got Link and
Heck yeah.
um
Spawn was on the Xbox,
that's correct. Did the
and
PlayStation 2
I
get
think it was Kratos.
okay.
I
Yes.
think.
Yeah, I thought it was Darth Vader for some reason,
Oh, you know
but what a
what? Oh, I think that's 4,
yeah, I think it's 4.
because
You're right.
Yoda is an exclusive character. I think, is Yoda exclusive in one of them? I don't know. I wonder if there's a tool that we have access to in which we could find this information about these exclusive platform characters. So I'm just going to keep saying things while maybe you do some magic to to find the answers to these questions. But um, I guess without needing to know the specifics, there were, yes, platform exclusive characters, but they were, I don't know, they were additional to the roster, and it was like the unique thing about each platform, as opposed to there's a unique thing about one platform for this Avengers game.
So it looks like the Xbox version did get Spawn. And I'm not familiar with this character. I knew uh, Heihachi Mishima
Oh my God,
from
Hachi.
Tekken. Yeah.
Yeah.
So was on the PlayStation 2 version.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
yeah, I'm not really much of a fighting game player. So I usually um, don't know these characters very well. But
Oh man, Tekken is a good series of fighting game, in my humble opinion.
and Kratos was in Soul Calibur Broken Destiny, if it's any sort of
Okay. So he was in a Soul Calibur game.
yes, correct.
Got it. Cool. All right. Well, I guess that's enough about that. Exclusive content isn't always a bad thing, but I like everyone to have access to the same stuff if possible.
Yeah.
Um, but who am I? The next item on the list is that the Halo Master Chief Collection is going to be getting Xbox and PC crossplay before the year is over, and I think that's great because, as you know, we've played with a group of some friends and played on the PC version, and there's usually been, like, especially when we're like, hey, everybody want to play, there's been some console only friends that have been like, oh yeah, I'd like to. Oh, it's you guys are doing it on PC. All right, well, I
Yeah.
guess we'll catch you later.
Definitely the non-PC players are getting excluded. It seems like there's almost more people that have access to an Xbox than a PC, but
Yes, I
um
mean, I was one of those people until February.
yeah. Yeah, that's true. I'd be interested to see how this is. I mean, the PC players are pretty good. I feel like I die a lot, so I wonder if Xbox will provide some more balance to the game or
I
um
don't know. I mean, I feel like a lot of the Halo players that are really good, um, probably they're still uh, evenly matched or potentially better with a controller, which I know is hearsay.
yeah.
But I mean, Halo is so console focused that I feel like that's where somebody will have had the most opportunity to build up that muscle memory.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
That's true. Crossplay is good. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I
No,
think it
I
should
always think it's a great idea.
think it should have been something that happened a lot earlier, but I remember in the PS3 and 360 era, like the architecture was just like different. So to make some of that stuff work was kind of hard, but set aside that the companies were unwilling. So
Yes. No, I think it's great to see as much crossplay um, as what's been happening lately, and I'm just hoping that we get it as much as humanly possible um, within all the new consoles and all the new games and stuff coming out. Be great.
totally. This next story, I actually didn't do a bunch of research on. I saw that it happened.
Oh, and here I just assumed you would know about this one.
Yeah, I know a little bit about the Joyride update for Fortnite. it was kind of often rumored and hinted that they were going to be adding cars at some point.
Yeah,
But it's it yeah, I guess they when they introduce a new vehicle, there's usually a lot of strategy involved with these things.
yeah,
So very slowly, like I mean, at one point there were planes, just like a season ago or something, or a couple seasons ago, but those have been removed, no longer.
yeah,
It's kind of a temporary thing. So then it was like kind of helicopters and uh I think most recently before this, the Shark. The Shark was a type of vehicle, right? So, I think we talked about that in the
yeah.
previous update,
Well, and
but
I experienced the shark vehicle.
yes, I actually I haven't done it yet. I actually in the game, but
Oh,
I need
really?
yeah, I like yeah,
I
definitely
think I
seen
did
the
it
Shark.
when I was playing with you.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, I've been attacked by the shark, but I couldn't quite get the fishing line on him. So, uh, next time I should get back into Fortnite. For some reason, I kind of got my fill for a little while.
yeah, no, that happens. All right. So yeah, cars in Fortnite. That's a thing. Um, Halo Infinite. It has been delayed to 2021. So sadly, will not be hitting the launch for the Xbox Series X. Um, but oh well, I guess.
Yeah, I wonder if there might have been some, fan backlash that might have inspired some of this. Um, I think with the announcement, they kind of gave the public a little taste, but I think it really is just not ready. I
Yeah.
think because it was pretty emphasized that whatever was shown was pretty early, or I guess not pretty early in development. It should be further along, but it's just not making its schedule.
Yeah, and you might be onto something about the reception because it did go over as well. Well, seemingly as well as the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, like the first trailer
Yeah.
before they redesigned Sonic. Um, so I mean, I don't know. I didn't personally think it looked that bad, but I wasn't scrutinizing heavily. So anyway, I generally think that delays are good things for games, except for Duke Nukem Forever. That was that was a bad delay. But overall, delays I think can only do good things. And speaking about game, or mentioning games that have been delayed, we have Cyberpunk 2077, and that they've recently released a couple videos. One was showing you how you get to choose from a few different backgrounds for your character, whether you want to be of a street kid background, a nomad, a corpo. They all kind of have their own unique backstories, and I don't know yet what I want to be. I'm maybe leaning towards corpo, not because that's the type of person I am, but because it's seemingly, I don't know. It seems pretty unique to me.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. I I'm sure I'll overanalyze all of this by the time the game is really close to determine exactly how I want to start my journey into this game because man, it looks really good.
Yeah, I'm interested, cautiously optimistic about it as well. But these almost seem like classes, almost in a way, like considering
Well,
this is an RPG of some sort.
yeah, I mean it's also just, I mean it's, I think primarily it's just your character's like background is going to influence the different, or sorry, it's going to influence um the way that your character communicates,
Mm,
and I think maybe a couple different things in the game. But overall I think it's seems really cool.
yeah, I like the idea of Nomad. So
So, next thing on the list here is that GoldenEye 25, which is supposed to be the 25th anniversary like fan remake of GoldenEye, it received a cease and desist. So sadly, it will not be continuing. And I think that's something we may have spoken about on the first episode, or maybe it was one of our many pre episodes.
so we were talking about the GoldenEye VR project. This was different than that.
Ooh, yes. This was
Yeah.
different.
So I had assumed so. So GoldenEye 25, I actually, when I read this story, it was the first time that I was hearing about it. Um, I I have heard that they actually have some they have GoldenEye multiplayer on Steam that was built in Source Engine. Um,
Yeah, I think it's a mod for Half-Life 2.
yeah, so I think that's, okay, that's different than this. So there are a lot of fan projects out there for GoldenEye.
Yeah.
It is sad to see this one go because from the screenshots and the things that I've seen from it, it looks really good. Um,
Yeah, I think even in the last episode I mentioned that I had played some I think one or two different GoldenEye levels in Half-Life Alyx, like some of the community content.
yeah, I gotcha. It is interesting though because it doesn't look like the project's going to completely die, but they're going to sort of strip the game out of licensing
Got it.
and kind of um, retcon a lot of anything that basically would take issue from legal, whether it's Nintendo or MGM or that's the
Got
company,
it.
right? MGM, something.
Yeah, I think so.
um,
The name is Pond. Hames Pond.
there you
Something
go.
ridiculous like that.
Yes. Yeah, that's all you need to do. They can't get you.
Yeah. All right. Next item made me pretty excited. The so Persona 4 Golden on PC has sold way above the expectations of Atlas because I don't know, for some reason, even though they have very rabid fans that want their content on multiple platforms, they're surprised that when they finally do it, they're making money hand over fist. Um, so, since for some reason surprised that this happened, they're going to actually be trying to release on more platforms and bring out older games on different platforms as well. So, fingers crossed. It's funny now that I'm finally like, I don't know, probably at least a third of the way through Persona 5. Like now, there maybe I'll finally get a chance of them releasing it on the Switch. Like I swear, as soon as I finish it on the PS4, it'll be out on the Switch.
Yeah, I really would like to see Persona 5 on another platform. It's just because my PS4 isn't usually something that I have regularly hooked up, and I think it would just be overall more accessible, if it were on PC or better yet, the Switch.
Yeah. Yep. So, I mean, overall, great news. I'd love to see Atlas games in more places, um, just so you have options of where you want to play. And let's see. Moving on to the next one. This came up because xCloud is a thing now. I think at least the beta is available for Android. But Apple says cloud gaming services like Google Stadia and Microsoft xCloud violate the App Store guidelines.
Yeah, this I read a little bit on this, and there it wasn't immediately clear about the Microsoft xCloud thing, because it sort of got pulled a little bit early. Well, they I guess I thought it was going to be around a little bit longer because it was pulled before Android actually released. So it was kind of implicated that it was supposed to go on longer, but it was pulled. So this isn't actually the only thing. I just have to latch on to here. It was another thing to come out just today is that Apple's pulled Fortnite from the App Store.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So it's kind of interesting because I think in the case of Fortnite, I think it's Epic just trying to um, I don't know, what would it be, a power trip? They're trying to,
I think they're trying to influence change
yeah,
with
I think so
Apple
too.
and these types of guidelines that they have in the App Store.
Yeah.
So I I kind of encourage them to do that because I mean, I would love to be able to use xCloud on my iOS device. Um, and I don't know, I think it's kind of misguided to think that. Well, actually, no. I think the reason that they're doing it is because they want a cut of the money that
Yes.
could be had. But at the same time, these games don't exist, and you're not necessarily buying these games. Like I don't know, there might be an option to buy that exists maybe in the Android version. I don't know. I don't have it. I don't have an Android device. Um, but I don't know. I feel like is it just that part of it, or is it also the fact that like, hey, we don't want you to be able to stream games that you could theoretically purchase through the App Store? And sure, there might be some crossover between Game Pass and being able to stream those games, or stream games that you've purchased in your library that maybe also exist in the iOS App Store,
Yeah.
but it's not the same consumer. Like it's a totally different consumer that is going to like purchase and play games on their phone than the consumer that's going to be having a dedicated game console that is also going to be choosing to play to streaming those games to their iOS device. Um, at least, to me, that's a totally different consumer.
I have hope. I think, I was pretty frustrated when Apple like kind of barred Steam from releasing its
Yeah, Steam
streaming
Link,
app.
right?
Yeah, their Steam Link app. That's correct. And I never thought that it would come back or appear, but it did after some time. So I think they just need to kind of talk it out. It's a new thing,
Yeah,
and this as Apple as it is today, I think they're willing to change if the conversations are had, right? So,
yeah.
but they definitely want to have the conversation before uh, they just say that this is okay.
Yeah. So I'm hoping there's going to be some change. Also, to be fair, like I think I said when we've talked about xCloud before, probably not going to be playing it while I'm at home, while I'm here during all of this, while I'm sheltering
No,
in place. So I think it'll be great for whenever I get to finally travel again.
yeah, you're too
Be a
close to the
very nice
metal
option. Yeah.
right now.
Yes, I feel like it'd be silly for me to be doing that off my phone. I don't know, unless no, actually, I don't take my phone to bed, so never mind. Okay, last piece of news. I just saw this, I think, late last night. There is going to be a SNK Neo Geo MVS-X. It is a essentially bar top arcade cabinet that also has an optional stand that you can put under it, so that it's a roughly 5 foot tall arcade cabinet, 2 player. It's got a ton of different Neo Geo games on it. I think around 60 or something games. Bunch of Metal Slugs, bunch of why am I blanking on the other names of the games that are not Metal Slug? Um, I swear I do like them. Like King of Fighters. What else is in here? Let's see. Oh, okay. Well, this apparently was not the website that actually had the detailed list of
Mm.
everything. Oh, dang it. Oh, find the full list of games here. This makes for great radio. Um, oh yeah, Samurai Showdown, the Sengoku games, oh, Shock Troopers, also Baseball Stars. Is 2020 in here? Baseball Stars 2020. I don't see it. Fatal Fury games. So anyway, lots of Neo Geo games built into this thing. It looks super cool, and they're also breaking from the Neo Geo tradition of there being just 4 buttons. There are
Oh,
6 buttons on the face, even though Neo Geo games only really use 4.
okay.
So I think this is maybe SNK doing us a solid for all the people that they know are just going to end up modding this thing with already having 6 buttons. I don't know. Maybe they do something else special. But this looks really cool.
I'm looking at the lower half here, and it's actually got coin slots for the first and second player, like the base that it sits on.
Yeah.
And I assume those are
I
totally
think,
unfunctional.
yeah, I'm assuming they're dummy slots, but that would be so cool.
Yeah, I mean, if it were mine, I would put a coin collector just in case someone wants to give me their money one
Oh yeah, for sure.
day.
But yeah, I wish I could have multiple arcade cabinets in my home, but that will always be a dream
It doesn't.
unless I move to a much bigger house.
Yeah, and it doesn't look outrageously expensive either. So for
No.
top unit is 450, and the base goes for 100, but you can get them together for $500. So they give you a little $50 discount there if you buy
Yep.
both.
Yeah, and I mean overall this thing itself isn't that big. It seems very similar in size to like the arcade one-up cabinets.
Yeah, gotcha. But still totally functional size. Maybe functional, especially if you like sit down on a like a maybe a bar stool of some sort
Yeah.
or
But yeah,
chair.
very exciting. I like seeing all these like not or up 3/4 size cabinets come out. Um, so you can create a little collection. Anyway, that is our last news item. Um, have anything else to say about the SNK Neo Geo MVSX?
I think I'm okay. I think
Okay.
it's time to travel.
Yes, it is time for the time machine. And this time we're going to be heading back to 2004. And oh yeah, we haven't gone there yet. We don't see these things. So we're stepping in the time machine. We're going. And we have now arrived in 2004. What is that I hear? Do I hear the song My Boo by Usher and Alicia Keys? Why, that is the number one song on the release date of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, at least for the United States. So also now that we are in 2004, these two social networks, is that what they call them? These two social networks have just been created, MySpace and Facebook. Also, wow, there's this brand new thing called Gmail.
Wow.
And we're saying goodbye to Frasier. The final episode of Frasier has just aired this year. Also, this cool company called Google has just become the most popular search engine in 2004, narrowly edging out Yahoo for the top position. Wow, that is a weird sentence. Um, also, the book, The Da Vinci Code, is just flying off shelves at your local borders. May they rest in peace. Shrek 2 and Spider Man 2 were the top two movies of 2004. Also, World of Warcraft was just coming out a few weeks after Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. And shortly after that, Half-Life 2. And then actually smack dab between those two releases that were also right after San Andreas was Halo 2. Like, wow. We're only talking about October and November. I'm not even listing all the stuff that comes after or before. 2004 is a pretty dang good year for video games.
Wow, that's a lot of twos.
Yeah. Yes, actually, lots of twos. And then also, sadly, this was the year and month that we said goodbye to Superman, Christopher Reeve. May he rest in peace. So, 2004, we're here. We're playing GTA San Andreas. Um, it was released on the 26th of October on the PS2, and then was released on the PC and Xbox in June of 2005. So also GTA San Andreas is a Rockstar North developed game, and it is officially one of the GTA 3 era games. And it also references different things and characters that happen in GTA 3 and in GTA Vice City. It is, well, that's funny. This says it's the only game to be set in the fictional state of San Andreas. My copy and paste, apparently, this was written before GTA 5 came out. And it consists of a few fictional cities. We got Los Santos, San Fierro, and Las Venturas. We also have a few other counties, but we'll maybe talk about some of those later.
Mhm.
Um, there's deserts. There's a mountain, Mount Chiliad, which it's funny to see in this game after playing a lot of GTA 5. Um, and there's, did I already say there's desert? There's countryside, there's mountains, there's cities. Uh, this game has it all. And also, the game centered around the return of a protagonist and former gangbanger, Carl C.J. Johnson, as he comes back to the Grove Street family and the game's subsequent return to power. Overall, it was received very well and met with a lot of critical acclaim. IGN gave the rating a 9.9 out of 10, which was the highest score it had ever given to a PlayStation 2 game, and called it a defining piece of software for the PlayStation 2. The Guinness World Records, the 2009 Gamers Edition, which I didn't even know was a thing, lists it as the most successful PlayStation 2 game with 17.33 million copies sold just for that console alone, and with a total of 21.5 million in all formats, at least by 2009. I'm pretty sure it's sold quite a bit more since then, since it's been released on many other platforms since 2009. Um, let's see. Oh yeah, in 2011, it was said by Kotaku that it's gone up to 27 and a half, but even still, that was only 2 years after what it said in that Guinness book. And it's been 9 more years since then. And I don't know. I think GTA San Andreas is still pretty popular.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, it's amazing how many like waves this sort of game met. I guess I might as well go into my sort of
Yeah.
impressions of it as well. So, it, every Grand Theft Auto game, it's like has no, it's no secret that it basically spawns controversy everywhere. And San Andreas being as successful as it is, as it was, basically no exception there. Um, I will say even in more recent years, just they had sort of the hot coffee mod controversy,
Yeah.
and uh, some of the other versions that were released for this game in more recent years were kind of plagued with some bugs. When I revisited this game, I played the iPad version on mobile, and I'm not going to go into a list of all the things that are wrong with it, but I do want to just, there's definitely videos online. You can just search it and they'll give you a laundry list. But a lot of bugs. It definitely looks like a cleaner version. Like the resolution is much higher, and it
Yeah.
looks
I think the draw
especially,
distance is a lot further.
it is, but there is a in the PlayStation 2, this was kind of masked a little bit, and I guess the Xbox version, the original version, I will say,
Yeah.
they used a lot of fog effects, which
Yes, they did.
so a lot of that was removed. So in a lot of ways, you can see the draw distance a lot clearer, like a hard line, as you're sort of, especially if you're flying a plane or something. It's kind of
Oh, yeah.
a little jarring, but I also played the PlayStation 4 release, which was a, a lot more faithful. It's basically a software emulated version of the PS2 with a
Yeah.
slight boost in resolution. Um, anyway, I did prefer playing it that way. It was much more nostalgic. You can kind of feel the love that Rockstar put into this game when they were making it.
Yeah.
Um,
And like when you originally played it, what platform was it on?
I got it on the PlayStation 2.
Okay.
I don't remember getting it exactly on launch, but shortly thereafter. Uh, the reason being is because my stepbrother had a like original PS2, and I played a lot of Vice City on his machine. But I was the GameCube owner, but I ended up trading in my GameCube so I could get one of the slim PS2s, which would be released later this month in 2004. So that is what I played on, the a slimline PlayStation 2.
Nice.
Um, as far as the story goes, I played. I actually had a save on mobile where I was on probably mission 70, and there's like 100 or so missions, or
Mhm.
78, I think it was. But I actually finished up the game there, and
Oh,
uh,
nice.
it is pretty clear that the best part of the game is towards the end. So like some of the best missions. Um, for example, there was you get to fly to Liberty City to take care of a mafia gang at St. Mark's Bistro. So you sort of fly in, murder a bunch of people in this restaurant. It's sort of, I guess, was a location in Grand Theft Auto 3.
Yes, I do.
Uh,
I do know that location in GTA 3.
Yes, yeah, and there is a heist that you perform at the Kalinga's Casino. You get to steal a Hydra jet and actually do some dogfighting and destroy some spy ships.
Nice.
Um, the game's the it definitely is a little ridiculous. I remember one where it's almost like Mission Impossible or something, where you kind of fly over a plane in your smaller plane or a jet, and you jump out of the plane and you enter the jet by skydiving onto it. You just open the door very casually, like while it's mid-flight, and so this is an era of Grand Theft Auto where it was much more like over the top and ridiculous, like kind of similar to a Saints Row, I would say.
Yeah, and actually you saying that thing about, uh, going out of the plane and then going in, parachuting out and getting into the other one,
Yeah.
I think I have played that. I think maybe I've played further into this game than I really actually remember,
Yeah.
um, with no spoilers about where I wound up yet. But that's all. Like, you saying that, like, I think just triggered a memory for me where I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and the game, I did hit a couple snags like when I was kind of finishing up the game. At least the game seemed to drag. There was one part where for the casino heist you have to get a key card, and the way you do that is it doesn't really make any sense, but you need to date this girl who works at the casino, and you don't steal it from her, but you would think that, okay, yeah, you just engage in this relationship and then you steal it when she's not looking. No, Carl, CJ actually tells her about the heist, and she's like, oh, I'm totally on board, but I want to cut, here's my key card. And it's like, okay, that's kind of not where I saw that was going. But anyway, you have to get to a certain relationship status and you have to go on dates in this game.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And there is an easy way to actually increase your relationship status with her, but I didn't know it at the time. It takes me a little while to figure it out, but that I think that's why I stopped playing the game the first time I was playing through mobile, because I didn't want to deal with that.
Got it.
I was done. And then also to unlock the last mission of the game, you have to claim so many territories in Los Santos. And at the time, the NPCs that are walking around the streets are in like sort of their frenzy mode, where they just kind of like, shoot at everybody and steal cars and things are blowing up. And yeah, it's part of the plot. But there's like a riot basically going on while you're doing this. So it's also a little frustrating because a lot of pedestrians are spawning, including the police. So I was chased by the police a
Got it.
lot while trying to claim these territories. So
Dang. Well, that's good for me to know before I get too much further to really focus on the territories.
well, yeah, it's a little hard because at one point you're claiming territories and then you leave that area, and I think some of those territories are reset. So it really is
Ah,
towards the end of the game that you have to
got
worry
it.
about that, I think. So
Okay.
yeah, so Do you want to talk about a little bit about your experience playing the game?
Yeah. So at least uh, early on, I did get it from a GameStop at my local mall. Got it on launch day. Was super, super hyped for the game because GTA had become one of my favorite franchises. And I mean, honestly, it still probably is. No, not probably. It still is one of my favorite franchises. 'Cause there's so much you can do and just mess around. But anyway, um, so yeah, I was not, and I'm still not that big of a fan of like the eating mechanic and a lot of the RPG type elements for CJ. It thankfully though doesn't seem like it negatively impacts me too much by not taking part in those things.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like there was you could largely ignore it and be fine actually through the game, but yeah,
Yeah,
they were trying to make your character more dynamic, and CJ as a character, like as his appearance is pretty dynamic. So
yeah. Yeah, and like I noticed in quite a few missions, it was like, okay, before you do this thing, go change your clothes and get a haircut. So they really are like trying to push you to use these things, but I only ended up doing them the times that I really had to, or when it was like a tutorial walking me through how I could do these things. Because I don't know, that's just it's not something that usually I care about.
there
But
is like one thing I want to point out
yeah,
about that. Sorry to cut you off,
no, no,
but
you're
there's
fine.
uh the a funny thing, like little Easter egg, is you can have girlfriends, as I kind of mentioned before, and go on
Yeah.
dates with various characters in this game. But your sex appeal has to be high enough to date some of these women. And so I guess that's about your appearance or what clothes you're wearing, but you can also improve your sex appeal by driving a nice car to pick them up. So
Got it.
I thought that was kind of funny too. The car is the wild card.
Oh, that's too funny. Yeah, I didn't end up in the playthrough that I was doing for this episode. I didn't end up going on any of the dates. I know that I did like originally when I was playing it. But yeah, I when I got it originally, I got it on the PS2. Actually, before we started recording, I held up my original copy that still has the map and poster inside of it. I forgot that was in there, so that was a cool little surprise that I still have that. Um, and so also at the time, I was more of a PC gamer by this point, um, because of Half-Life 2. I know that we just talked about Half-Life in the previous episode. So Half-Life 2 is one of my favorite games. It came out very shortly um, after GTA San Andreas, and also before that, World of Warcraft. So I got all three of these games on launch day, and it really was the stuff on my PC that kind of took me over. But it is funny though that I do now have memories of the stuff that you were talking about from towards the end of the game, that I had totally forgotten that I've gotten that far. So I don't remember if I got that far on my PS2 version, because I did also ultimately end up buying it on PC because I was like, hey, I might as well play this on PC instead. Um, but yeah, I'm missing a PS2 memory card that I remember I let somebody that when I used to work with, we used to work at Starbucks way back when. I remember letting them borrow my copy of Guitar Hero, and I put my memory card in it because I was like, hey, this is so that you don't have to unlock all the songs because I know that you just wanted to borrow it for, this whatever get together you're having. And then I never got it back. So
Oh,
RIP most of my PS2 saves. Because I really actually wanted to see how far I got in this game previously, but to no avail. So yeah, I did start over. Um, I really thought the just business, that particular mission, that motorcycle chase was so hard, but it was also a really, really cool throwback to Terminator 2 in that particular scene when they're going through the canals and being chased by the big rig.
yes.
I thought that was even though it was frustrating the number of times that I died, it was so cool getting to watch that little cinematic sequence every time. Um, yeah, really enjoyed it. Also, shortly after that, I played the mission where you have to go and dance on the beach, and it's basically like a rhythm game so that you can get the audio equipment for OG Loke. Um, I had to play it a second time because the first time I played through it, I think I was like literally like 20 points shy of the minimum score that you had to get.
Mhm.
So then when I went back and did it the second time, I think I like doubled the necessary score because like I actually like got it down pretty good. But yeah, like I really do enjoy the variety that the game gives you. And even though I didn't take advantage of all the RPG type elements, I think it's really cool that it's there. Like
Yeah.
I feel like this is such an ambitious game for the fact that it came out on the PS2. Like that's like I also with how much I've played GTA 5 and how much I love GTA 4, I kind of thought it was going to be hard to go back and enjoy this game as much as I've actually been enjoying it. So I've been very pleasantly surprised with the way that this game is held up. Um, and just for old time's sake, have had to save and then just go on a rampage and see like how many stars I can get. So far, though, I think I only got 4.
Mhm.
Uh, because man, like even at 4 stars, I feel like it's more difficult. Like it's way more difficult in this game than it is to get rid of 4 stars in GTA 5 and even
Oh
4.
yeah. Yeah, they 100%. I really did like the systems that they implemented in 4 on how you can
Yes.
sort of
Break
lose,
line of sight.
yeah, break line of sight. Whereas I mentioned in like sort of the later parts of the game, I was struggling with the police. I was having a really hard time getting rid of 1 star,
Oh yeah.
actually. So, it just was really sticky. I found if I just kinda drove in one direction, I was usually okay.
Yeah.
Where in GTA 4, I remember, they deliberately try and counter that, and that you can't just drive straight in one direction, you have to make a lot of
Yeah.
turns to
Yeah.
evade the police, but, um, anyway, I also found that some of the like when I was playing on the mobile version, I don't know if it was specific to this version, but the minigun is actually ridiculous. Um, I would if there were like a dozen like characters or enemies coming at me at the screen, I would just tap the trigger for the minigun, and they would all just like instantly fall to the ground. That was it. Like it would
Wow.
kill them that fast. Like it would just like run through them. So I don't know if that was a bug. I don't remember it being that powerful, but man, when I
And
got in trouble.
were these legit means that you had the minigun?
Yeah, I didn't cheat in this last playthrough.
Oh,
It was
I cheated like crazy.
yeah, there was a yeah, and I did try when I was playing the PlayStation 4 version to just try and go through some muscle memory, and I'm pretty sure I was doing at least one cheat right, and I don't know if it's just not in that version or what, but um yeah, I decided that I was gonna try and like beat it all the way through without cheating, even though when I was a kid, I definitely used cheats constantly.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
the flying car cheat was one of my favorites,
Oh,
honestly.
see, the cheats that I have that I still have the muscle memory for, which I thought was funny. Like
Mhm.
I looked it up, and then as soon as I did it once, I was like, "Oh, this motion with my hands. I never have to think about this cheat ever again."
Yeah.
So it's I can't remember which set of weapons it is that I get, but the AK-47 is one of the weapons that's in that cheat set along with the rocket launcher.
Mhm.
Um, that and then there's uh the one that gives you full health, full armor, and $250,000. Um,
Yeah.
so as I was doing some of the more difficult missions, if I could not get through it, then I just would do that as soon as like my armor went away. I'd do that cheat, get it back up, pull out my AK, keep shooting, do that health thing again, pull out the AK again.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I just want to get through this. And that is true to the way that I played the game when I was grown up. And also like I found as soon as the gang war stuff was available to me, I killed so much time, so I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to this purple section and this purple section." Like, it's like I was stopping at every different colored gang territory on my way to whatever the next mission was, where I then ended up capturing, I think, like, I don't know, between 6 and 8 territories on the way just to go to one mission.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely good to kinda take that in waves rather than having to do it all at once, but it's also one of the few opportunities in the game where I don't know if it's like this on every version, but on the mobile version, when you start a game war, you cannot get a wanted level when that's happening. So,
Yeah,
s
yes, I mean, so it is that way in the PS2 version with a caveat where I started a gang war, I unintentionally shot a police officer who was walking on the street. It gave me a wanted level, and then about 10 to 15 seconds later, it removed the wanted level.
Oh, okay. Okay, so, yeah, yeah, it seems like it's probably just constantly clears it after every so often.
Yeah.
Um, I also liked you talked about the RPG elements, but there's also, like, weapon mastery as well too,
Oh, yeah. I got AK-47 weapon mastery really fast in this playthrough because that's basically the only thing that I've been using.
which is super useful because then you can strafe while you're shooting as
Yes,
well,
and you can
so
roll,
mhm.
and you can yeah, you're way more mobile.
I always like the Uzis as well because you get 2 of them, and
Oh,
so
yeah.
shoot at double the speed, so that's kind of my preferred weapon for, close range, but definitely gotta pick one of the ARs or the AK for long distance.
Yeah.
That's almost hacks for clearing the territories because you
Yes,
outrange them.
that's what I was using, and that's like it was super easy to do the gang wars because 'cause I'm like, "Cool, I'm just gonna pick everybody off with the AK, like, duck behind a car." Yeah, super fun, and, I really love the music in this game. Some of my favorite stations are KDST, Radio X, and Radio Los Santos. I primarily left it on Radio Los Santos because I don't know, trying to be CJ, trying to be in the mindset of CJ and listen to the music that CJ would listen to as opposed to like I personally would probably listen to KDST or Radio X more often. I know that I did when I was growing up.
Yeah.
I think those 2 stations specifically, like, were always in rotation for me. Um, but yeah, I really like Radio Los Santos, and because of it, it's actually influenced what I've been listening to on Spotify recently. So I put together um, I don't know. Over the weekend, I just started like playing DJ as I was hanging out in the living room with my partner, and just put on a lot of songs that were from Radio Los Santos or other songs from the artists that were in Radio Los Santos.
Yeah, you gotta listen to Radio Los Santos when you're in Los Santos. It
Oh
just
yeah,
sets the atmosphere, right?
yeah,
And, uh I I personally, I have to, like, call out, I definitely K-Dust, DST, and, Radio X, those are what I listen to the most, but K-Rose, man,
yeah. K Rose is good every now and then.
I don't really okay, I don't like country music, particularly modern country music, but
Oh no, this
K-Rose
is good old country music.
yeah, K-Rose taught me to love classical country music
Yeah,
because
it's good stuff.
so I probably this playthrough, I listened to that one the most.
Nice.
Of course, I love the like, if I do listen to this, soundtrack off lot or basically when I'm not playing, like working or something like that, I always look for the ones that include the radio banter because that's like my favorite.
Yes, definitely.
I just love the, like, crazy, wacky sense of humor, like, and actually it was pretty dark too, most of it,
Yeah.
yeah, I love it. I'm not even gonna call any of it out, just it's worth a listen.
Yeah, I think, I can't remember on which station, but I think Andy Dick, is one of the radio personalities, and so, also, speaking of, like, notable or famous or at least semi-famous people, in this game, which there are many,
Yeah.
I totally forgot that Samuel L. Jackson does some voice acting in this game, and he does it for Officer Tenpenny.
And he does it really good too.
Yeah, he does.
There was a lot towards the end of the game where he's really talks a lot, and I felt like I was watching Pulp Fiction. It was like
Man.
it's amazing. I mean, I don't know. I think that Rockstar has moved in a different direction to where they don't get so many like big name celebrities, but maybe
Yeah. Well, I
maybe
mean, production cost to make the modern day GTA costs so much money. It
yeah.
would cost so much more money to also pay for these super high profile voice actors.
Yeah, this is true. And I think, maybe this was in a time where these actors might have been a little bit more affordable, but and David Cross, he plays Zero, which is in the San Fierro missions is where you're sort of introduced to him.
Ah,
Um and he did, it's definitely David Cross, but uh that I have to call out that mission when I was a kid, man. There's one mission where you have to fly this like RC plane,
oh
and
yeah.
it's like impossible. And I think later versions made some tweaks to make that easier, but man, I remember the exact time that I beat it, and I was so happy, and I so feverishly like ran to save my game. I'm like, I need that mission to be gone forever because
Is it more difficult than the RC helicopter mission in Vice City?
um I I'm going to say
Oh, wait a
so.
second.
Yes,
I
yeah,
think
it
I
definitely is.
remember.
I know what
I
mission you're
think I
talking about
remember.
now.
Yeah, and I think I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Though I did not get that far in this current playthrough. Um, because I really only got to just outside of Los Santos. Like I finished the main first set, and when it then takes you out to what Flint County, I think it
yeah.
was. Um, yeah, so that's as far as I got, and then drove around a bit in San Fierro. Um, but why did I start talking about that?
We were talking well, so the RC
Oh yeah,
mission,
the memory that I have of it, but yes, I did not quite get that far this time.
yeah, you have to fly a little RC plane that has limited fuel and is actually pretty delicate, and you have to destroy like I think it's 5 it has a gun on it so you can like you're supposed to destroy these different they're I guess they call them couriers, but they're carrying something. There's some guys on bikes and there's like a van or two and they shoot back at you, which is not great.
Yeah.
So you can't just like land on the ground to save fuel. But yeah, so and they all go in different directions. So if the longer you take, the longer you have to fly to kill them, and it's not just kill them; you have to make it back too. So without running out of fuel, or else it's game over.
Ugh,
So
man.
yeah, I was happy to be through that, but I definitely had to save it till later in the game when I was first playing through it because I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I always hate when you stumble across one seemingly impossible mission that's like so weird. Like whether it's this game or what I mentioned in GTA Vice City, or I don't know, I can't think of a different example in another game, but I know that they exist. It's like, why? Why is this one thing impeding my progress?
Yeah, and luckily it's an optional mission. You can actually beat the game without doing it.
Oh, great.
But yeah, there's a series of 3 missions that you do for Zero, David Cross's character, and that's like the second to the last one. It's not even the last one. So, but the one after that is like so much easier. I had no problem passing it my first try. So,
Nice.
you got anything else on GTA San Andreas?
Did you ever play the two-player rampage mode?
I think I did once, but it was just like I did get to experience it, but it wasn't something that was like a highlight for me, or I don't have any specific memories playing it.
I think the same. Like I'm fairly certain that I played it back when this was new, but I don't have any direct recollection of it. Um, and nobody to really test it out with right now.
Yeah. maybe one of these days, since we have the original version. So
Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we should chat about GTA while we're here in 2004. 2004. What a time.
I know I when
What a
when you're
time.
when you're talking about like all the events that happen, it really does take me back. Like,
Yeah. It's good to see people so carefree.
yeah,
Um, all right. Well, then I think it's about time we hop back in the time machine to go back to August 13th, 2020. All right, we have arrived. Um, so now we're getting into the part of the show where we talk about the things that we have been playing. And to nobody's surprise, we've been
Mhm.
playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Again, I primarily played it on PS2. I did start the game on the PC. I think the day that we recorded the previous episode about Half-Life, I think that day I played a little bit of GTA San Andreas on the PC, but then opted to go the more nostalgic route and play it on my PS2.
I think you made the right choice. Those versions are kind of a mess because there was a physical release,
I
and
did get the
then
physical release. I just don't know where that disc is.
yeah, so there's
And
the
I don't have
physical.
an optical drive.
That's true. So they call that 1.0, and then that version got a couple patches, and then when they released it for Steam, they actually it was like they didn't release the latest patched version. They went back to 1.0, like what was on the disc. So there was like a fork in versions basically. And there was a bunch of things wrong with the Steam version and all that stuff. So now what people do on the Steam version is they bring it back to 1.0, and then they rely on mods to make
Yes.
make the game perform and do what they want it to do.
It
So
looks like there's actually a lot of really cool mods.
yes.
There's so many different graphical mods, like so many different cars you can add. You can increase the draw distance, like that. Like seeing that stuff made me want to play it on PC. Um, but then I realized it was going to potentially be more trouble than it was worth, and I would be spending most of my time playing configure mods for GTA San Andreas instead of playing GTA San Andreas.
Yeah.
Um, so, also figured it'd be good to talk about the game as it is, as opposed to what it's turned into 16 years down the road.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But yeah, played quite a bit. And actually, one thing that we didn't talk about back in 2004, that 16 years ago, we were just a moment, or,
Mhm.
just a moment ago, um, was the difference in the soundtrack. So if you're
Yeah.
playing 1.0, you're getting the official soundtrack. So if you're playing it on PlayStation 2, the Xbox, or the original 1.0 release that is totally unmodified, you still get the full release soundtrack. I don't recall what's missing,
Yeah.
but that also did play a factor in why I wanted to play the PS2 version, because I figured there would be a song that I loved that was no longer on one of the radio stations, and that just would have bugged me.
I did look at that, and I actually was going to re-thermal paste my PS3 so I could play the PS2 version that I have just for the soundtrack. But I did look at the songs, and there are definitely, it's a crime, some of the ones that were removed, but I
Yeah.
think K Rose was untouched. So that's all I needed.
Like, as long as my classic country is intact, it's
Yeah,
fine.
exactly. So there's a few, and even the some of the later releases, you can do your own playlists on them. That's I think in
Yeah,
PC they
well,
did that as
I
well.
think you could do that on the Xbox release because that's just a thing you could do on the Xbox,
Yeah,
which I
yeah,
still have my still have Tenacious D on my original Xbox.
that's all
And
you
I
need.
think, yeah, and I think if like one or two other albums, oh, I think Queens of the Stone Age, Songs for the Deaf,
Yeah, there you go.
uh, and I think one other CD. There's literally, I think, three CDs that I ripped onto my Xbox. So not in GTA, but have in I think Burnout 3 had like custom soundtrack of like like Wonder Boy and Tribute and all the Tenacious D songs playing as I'm driving. Anyway,
I love
I
Wonder Boy.
yeah, I've not been playing Burnout 3, but now I kind of want to. Um, so anyway, I guess to come back on track to what we've been playing, um, I guess the next thing, and also my much shorter list this week, is Overwatch. I did play last weekend a fair amount of Overwatch. I was really trying to get the Tracer skin, and I think normally when you're not tracking to get those 9 wins in whatever the special week is to unlock, whatever skin, um, I'm not as aware of my win-loss ratio, but I was so frustrated, this past weekend because I played, I don't know, probably 25 rounds total across, like, 3 days, and I think I won 4 games.
That's crazy. I know that's not the normal. I know you don't suck at that game.
No, I mean,
So,
overall, I think I'm at least, at a 50% streak. I mean,
mhm,
and this is in quick play, so it's not like I'm losing a bunch of games playing comp or even like playing comp, but yeah, I think it's truly just the fact that I was like, oh yeah, I'd like to unlock that Tracer skin. Like that looks cool. Um, and then just not seeing those little bubbles fill up. I did ultimately end up getting it because I finally, um, I think when there was like 15 hours left or something that evening, I played and was able to get my last bit of wins, all as Brigitte and Mercy. So I just had to go back to queuing only as support,
yeah.
and then I was able to get my wins.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta, play where you're, most comfortable or where you might have the most impact. But I also played Overwatch and did not get the skin. Also had a hard time getting wins. I think I probably played 10 games and won like 3 of them or something. It was bad.
Yeah.
Um,
So I noticed that in a lot of my matches when just doing the quick play matchmaking. So I on PC have not yet hit level 100, which is denoted by the little stars, and multiple stars means you've hit 100 multiple times.
mhm.
Um, so in a lot of my games, there would be nobody or maybe one person on my team that had a star. So one person had hit level 100, whereas 3 or 4 or 5 members of the opposing team continuously had 1 to 4 or 5 stars.
Wow.
So I was like, "Wait a second." Like, I think I was matchmaked in a game where we had a level 1 tank, a level 5 tank, and I think, like, a level 15 healer with me, and I don't know, I'm, like, 90 something right now. But I was like, "How is this fair?"
Yeah.
I was like, "How is this fair when everyone on the other team, except for one person, I think the lowest level person on the opponent's team, like that particular round, like I took a picture of it to send to a mutual friend of ours, because I was complaining to him about my horrible losing streak, but I took a picture and I sent it to him. I think the lowest level person on their team was like 40 something.
Wow.
So I was like, I don't understand. Why do I keep getting matched up like in these awful imbalanced matches? But to be fair, we usually didn't ever get horribly blown out. So maybe I was playing with Smurfs.
Yeah, I think I played quick play with like 3 other people that I know, and one person who jumped on and plays a lot of Overwatch. So we played one match, and then we got like completely spanked. And he was like, "Oh wait, I need to switch to my Smurf account because this is not going to be good since you guys don't play as much as I have." He's like,
Yeah.
huge Overwatch fan. So he just switches so that he can when he wants to play casually and not in ranked. But I don't think it really helped. I think it kind of just stayed the same. So it wasn't him. I felt like the matchmaking was a little rough.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe some of the matchmaking has been having a hard time lately. That'll just be my excuse for being so bad, apparently, over this
Yeah.
past weekend.
Yeah, it wasn't you. It was the matchmaking.
Of course, it had to be the matchmaking.
And that lag. That's
Oh yeah, yeah, totally lag. That's what it was.
I guess I can talk a little bit about
Yeah,
something that I played. I played Grounded with some friends of mine. This is an early access game. It's by Obsidian, so kind of in the Microsoft wheelhouse since
yeah,
they control Obsidian now. But anyway, it was fun. It's surprisingly playable for how unfinished it is, but it is definitely unfinished. There's a lot of buzz in this game just because of like kind of the style. It's very like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
yeah.
Um,
I've seen a trailer. It looks pretty interesting.
you play as a teen, and all the teens kind of have like sort of this uh there's almost like an 80s spin to it, I swear,
Oh,
but
cool.
like kind of neon colors and stuff like that, but it's it definitely doesn't feel 2020, I think. So anyway, maybe 90s, we'll say. I don't know. It definitely is getting like channeling some of that Honey, I Shrunk the Kids business. But
Yeah.
anyway, it's surprisingly playable. Spiders are terrifying. They will basically one shot you. So unless you've got like kind of upgraded armor and weapons, you don't stand a chance. Um, it's one of those few games I feel like where the crafting kind of makes sense. Like, of course, you have to craft. You're a kid and you're defenseless, and there's all these terrifying bugs,
Yeah.
in the lawn. So you're gonna have to make tools. You have to make food to survive. Um, Water is really scarce. Like there are like soda cans that you can find that have a few drops in there that you can actually drink out of, and there's dew on the grass which you can drink, but there's also a lot of contaminated water that like you know downs your health and food when you drink it, so it's
Oh,
kind of
okay. So I guess it's funny because when you said Obsidian, I immediately thought of Fallout New Vegas.
yeah.
And that sounds like a very Fallout thing to do. Like, oh, here's some water. Oh, it did you damage.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I found when I was playing with my friends at our base. There's just no good water supply nearby, so you just have to drink the poopy water, as we call it.
So in this game, is it like one person's environment that's hosting and then people come in and play on it? Or is it like a persistent environment that like multiple people can share?
It seems like it is one person is hosting, at
Okay.
least the way that it is now. So, because I had to join one particular friend, it was actually really interesting how the like Steam version and how like you join a friend actually goes. Because when you start a when you start up the Steam version, you actually have to link your Microsoft account with it, like your
Yeah,
Xbox
okay.
account.
'Cause I was gonna say it's on Game Pass for PC. I think I've
Right.
downloaded it.
So what was particularly tricky is, yeah, my friend got it on Steam, but I wanted to join his game, and then I was on Game Pass. So to join his game, we actually had to friend each other on the Xbox app, and then I was able to see his game and join it. So
Yeah, I think we had to do that with another friend of ours with Halo Master Chief Collection because he has it on Steam.
yeah, that's correct. So it's kind of funny how it ties in. I'm just glad that there's not any hard barriers like, oh nope, the communities are forked. Sorry. So
Yeah, that is like that's a thing that I think is a real bummer about Deep Rock Galactic
yeah.
is that the Steam version is separate. Like you can't play with the PC version from the Microsoft Store, but the Microsoft PC store, Microsoft Store PC version can play with Xbox.
Yeah.
I just wish it was fully open. That would be much nicer.
Yeah, it definitely seems more common now, but maybe when
Yeah,
Deep Rock Galactic came out, not as much.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, it's fun. I just the game just doesn't feel done, and I really like to wait for games to be finished to get the
yeah,
the intended experience from it. I feel like I'm shorted a little bit when I play the early access version. So
yeah. Well, yeah, because then I don't know, getting into the early access stuff, like I know that if I were to spend a bunch of time in an early access game, I likely would run out of steam by the time it becomes like a full 1.0 release.
yeah, you'd be done.
Yeah, be like, well, I got my fill playing objectively the worst version of this to exist. Um, Now, I mean, still, I think it's cool that early access games exist. But yeah, I don't find that I take advantage of it all that often.
Yeah, like Minecraft was actually kind of cool because it was a very like it felt like a finished product back then, even though it wasn't.
Yes.
But it
Yes.
just kind of slowly evolved over time, and then at some point, not Valve, Mojang just planted the flag and said, "Oh yeah, it's done," but we're still going to keep adding to it.
Yeah. Yeah, that does seem to be the exception to my rule, that game. All right. Well, anything else about Grounded?
No, yeah, go for it.
All right. Well, let's see. Something else that I've been playing a bit of that I've had it for a while, but I haven't played it in a bit. Though I've really lately been hankering to play my Switch, um, but also at the same time, I'm consciously taking a break from Animal Crossing because I have played the heck out of that, and I don't want to. I don't want to force myself to play it because I don't want it to feel like a job.
Yeah.
um because that is exactly how Animal Crossing becomes not fun, um at least for me. So in lieu of that, but also wanting a fairly casual experience, I have been playing a game called Arcade Spirits. It's a visual novel romantic comedy game, and it's like arcades never died down in popularity. It's still modern day. People have smartphones, but just they also like arcades. Um, so you design your own character. It's really it's a lot more fun actually than I thought it would be. Like I did initially think that I would like it, but like I'm really enjoying the characters. I'm really enjoying like what's going on. There's something in it, like there's a particular event that's in the game that's very, very similar to a real life thing that I've been to for arcades. Like there's an arcade convention that comes up as a thing that's mentioned and attended. Um, I guess incredibly light spoilers for anyone who has not played it that wants to play it. Um, but yeah, it's cool. I don't know what else to say about it other than like it's been kind of scratching the itch of like reading a book, but also just having like a very relaxing video game experience. And it's truly, just choose your own adventure, choose who you want to have relationships with. The game apparently is very, very open where you can be like whoever you define yourself to be. You can romance any of the different characters, regardless of like gender or anything. And I feel like there's quite a few different themes um, in the game with the relationships that actually make it feel like very modern.
Hmm.
um, yeah, and I think it's been great. It's been refreshing to play.
Yeah, when you say about games that kind of like sort of relaxing to sort of scratch the itch, I think about like playing. I haven't played a lot of Telltale games, but I did play Minecraft Story Mode, and that was kind of like it was like watching one long cutscene,
Yeah.
kind of that you interact with once in a while. Um,
Yeah,
so
this is basically just an RPG with 0 battles, is what it
okay,
feels like.
all right,
Yeah, because you make decisions, There are consequences to your decisions, both positive and negative. Um, but yeah, it's cool. I definitely think it's worth checking out, um, especially if you end up seeing it on sale and you just kind of want something to read through on your Switch and make a decision every now and then. It's great.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check this out at some point. It looks at least interesting.
Yeah, I mean, and it's also it's not only on the Switch.
Mhm.
I know it's on Xbox. I'm pretty sure it's on PlayStation, and I also think it's on PC.
Yep.
So it's pretty much anywhere that you could play it. It is not resource heavy at all, or at least it shouldn't be. It's it's static images, like nothing animates. So, um, and then I guess I'll mention another thing briefly that been playing since we're almost done with our lists. Um, so I also played a bit of Quake Champions over the weekend. It is a free to play multiplayer Quake game. And part of the reason I played it this past weekend, well, was one, because I already know that I like it. I've already played it before. But two, it was QuakeCon. And during QuakeCon, they basically made it so that if you played like and completed any round of any multiplayer game in Quake Champions, it unlocks all of the champions for you, which is cool because since it is a free to play game, the way that they make money is charging you for the champions and different, like, I guess there's season passes. There's some stuff in the game that I have no idea about because I haven't paid attention, and I just like getting in and just scratching the itch of that classic super fast twitchy multiplayer deathmatch type game, and had so much fun playing Instagib. Have you played any Quake games or Unreal Tournament games or anything?
No, no, unfortunately.
Oh man, so Instagib, everyone has a railgun and every shot is a one-shot kill. So it's like the man with the golden gun
Yeah.
in GoldenEye, um, but way faster. And it's yeah, you're like flying through the air. Like there's things that'll launch you. You can double jump, and yeah, just shooting each other with railguns. It's quite entertaining.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Um, and I this is kind of I've kind of come to the end of my list here, but there's something I'm going to be anticipating playing, and
Oh, okay.
it's going to be kind of the first game that at least I mean my partner and I play Mario Kart sometimes just for fun,
Yeah.
and there's a few very casual couch multiplayer experiences that we've done a couple times. Overcooked, though, that's not her favorite game. Um,
Yeah, it's been that was also a tough sell with my partner.
yeah,
Even though similarly, she and I will play Mario Kart or like Yoshi's Woolly World or Yoshi's Crafted World.
yeah,
Yeah, Overcooked just causes stress.
yeah, and what was it? Kirby's Epic Yarn. That was
Oh
actually a
yeah,
pretty good
great.
hit for us. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, there's a game that she played a lot when she was younger, and this was called Maple Story. And okay, have you heard of Maple Story? Do you know what this is?
So I've definitely heard of it, and I'm pretty sure I know what it is. I just don't recall any specifics about it right now. So
It,
please enlighten me.
it is interesting because it is like a um 2D MMORPG, and
Oh
co-
yeah.
combat kind of seems like almost like a cave story, or even like a Terraria where it's kind of like, but there's totally like classes. So you have your melee characters, your support, and just it's funny because I can actually talk about like different roles in RPGs that you play, like your tank and support and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And she knows exactly what I'm talking about because of Maple Story. Like,
Oh, that's funny.
so she was super engulfed in it, for sure. And I set up my laptop and an external monitor and keyboard for her, and she decided to dive in. So she's getting her cousins together, and she's getting the band back together,
Oh,
everyone who
that's
used to
cool.
play with her, and they're gonna start. playing, and she wants me to join.
Oh,
So
that's super awesome.
I was kind of busy trying to finish up playing GTA San Andreas. So I've been busy the past few days when she's wanted me to play. But I think this weekend and maybe even tomorrow, as soon as tomorrow, I'll be playing this. So you'll get my impressions.
Awesome.
It's actually funny. They had a Maple Story 2 that was almost like Dragon Quest Builders, like the way that it was like
Oh,
fully
okay.
3D. But I guess it is no longer. It was in development for a long, long time, but then I guess it only lasted a couple of years and they shut it down. So, which I'm surprised. Um, I'll have to verify, but I thought I heard that it is no longer playable.
Got
Um,
it.
so anyway, a little preview for next week.
Cool. Last thing that's on my list is Gears 5. I got to play that with a mutual friend of ours, who we occasionally play Overwatch with, or also play Sea of Thieves, which, man, I have not played that in a while, and
Hmm.
that could be fun. But ended up continuing on with our story in Gears 5, because he and I have played through the first 4 Gears games together, and only have done that in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we still need to make it through 5. We just got into Act 3. So I am looking forward to eventually completing this game, because he and I first started playing it. Uh, I think the night it released. So it's been a very slow burn getting through Gears 5. I gotta say though, I'm not a huge fan of all the skiff stuff that's in it. I don't know if you've played it at all.
No, no, I haven't.
Um,
I tried to play with a friend, but we had network connectivity
oh, that's
issues.
right.
So,
That's right. I
yeah.
remember you saying something about that. Um, yeah, so there's, I don't know, they have a few open world-ish feeling sections of Gears 5
Mhm.
that I'm not the biggest fan of that. The one thing that I really like about the Gears series is it just kind of like takes you through exactly where you're supposed to be. Like
Mhm.
you can't go the wrong way. Um, so like at least in the section that we were, not this time that we played, but one of the last times that we played, which is now probably like a month or two ago. Um, we spent so much time like going in circles or not finding the right little place to get through, or the right place to go up to traverse the environment while in the skiff, and then
Wow.
also had to keep going back and forth between like two different points, or like or points that were very close to each other, but it felt just like a lot of needless back and forth where I'm like, okay, like it just feels like this was added to extend the game, but also show like, hey, we can do open environments too. Not everything in Gears needs to be dark and cramped, which I mean is fair, but I don't know. It's definitely a break and a change in the formula of the Gears game that it doesn't turn me off of the series or this game completely, but it definitely, to me, is a detriment to the way that Gears is normally paced.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally get that. And I think there are games that can make it good, like God of War kind of went in that direction as well with the latest entry on PS4.
I have not played it yet.
It's pretty open that yeah, you can kind of choose where you want to go next. But I don't think it's ever like really a big question mark. Like it'll show you this is your I'm sorry, mainline quest. This is where you
Yeah.
have to go next. But there are side quests you can do, so you can kind of peel off and do different side quests. But I think it does serve kind of the atmosphere of the game really well. But I can see with the 5th game in the series that they're trying to change it up somehow,
Yeah.
really. Um,
Yeah. Again, I don't think it's bad that they're trying to do different things. Um, I just hope that if and when there is a Gears 6, that maybe they don't have that.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
if they do, I'll still likely play it, because I have really grown to enjoy this series of games, plural. Um, but I don't know, not my favorite so far. But I am enjoying the story, and I do enjoy the characters.
Yeah. I that's I think they did a pretty good job reinventing, as we call the second trilogy for the fourth game, where you have some familiar characters, but
Yeah.
mostly new.
Yep. Passing the torch. Well,
Totally.
that's I think that's everything I've been playing. I'm like looking around my office. I'm like, is there anything else that I did play? No, much shorter list. Was more focused in these past 2 weeks than I was the previous time because I've played so much Half-Life that I'm like, I don't need to play a ton of it because it's all fresh up here. So I'm going to play everything on the Saturn. Um, yeah, we'll see what happens over the course of the next week. So I guess since we are towards the end, it is your turn to decide what it is that we're playing.
Yeah. So we kind of discussed this a little bit, but I've chosen Psychonauts to be the next game that we'll be playing. Um,
Yeah.
I haven't exactly decided which version I'm going to play. I know I have played the PC version before, but I think I might try the Xbox version this time.
Yeah, and I'm opting for the backwards compatible version on the Xbox One, because I have never played this game. I've always heard great things about it. I know that there's a big fan community around this game, and Double Fine in general, which, I know last week we had the news item that they were doing that the Humble Bundle of all the
Hmm.
Double Fine games, which this game was included. Um, so yeah, I'm excited to play something new, but it'll be interesting because this is the first game so far that I have no historical context and no background playing, but I think that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited too, to see what you kind of think. And I think this is, kind of in time too, because I think Psychonauts 2 is not too far off now. So if, you do like what you see here, or like what you play,
Yeah.
you'll have an opportunity. So,
Yes. Well, yeah, I think that you're right. It is appropriately timed, so that I will be primed and ready for Psychonauts 2, which that's going to be multi-platform, right?
that's correct. Yeah. So it was
Because Double Fine now is owned by Microsoft, correct?
That's correct. But they came out and announced that they do plan to release it on all announced platforms, which
Good.
is actually, it looks like it was announced for the Series X, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One.
Great.
And it looks like they're still committing to uh, PC, Linux, and Macintosh as well, which
Oh, wow.
is impressive to me. But um,
Hey, I mean, because they were already working on Psychonauts 2 before Microsoft purchased Double Fine, correct?
That's correct.
All right.
They purchased late in development, and it does look like it's got a 2021 release date, so not this year, but
Okay.
not too far off.
But yeah, no, that's great. I'm totally looking forward to trying this out. I already checked online to see if my local game shop had this in stock to see if I could play it on my original Xbox, but they don't.
Oh, shoot. Well,
I know. And
um
then I started looking on eBay and I'm like, oh, this game's expensive. Never mind.
yeah, actually I'm not positive. I rented the game back in the day on the PlayStation 2. Um so I don't have a copy of my own.
Gotcha. Well, digitally.
Correct, yeah.
Cool. Well, I am excited for some Psychonauts when we get together on whatever it is 2 weeks from now, whatever that day is.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that's a show. Unless you got anything else.
That's all for me.
Okay. Well, for all of you listening, thank you for listening to the show. If you haven't already, You can subscribe to this podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Overcast, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Radio Public. So please, why don't you come and join us next time where we talk about video games, specifically at least Psychonauts, and probably run off on different tangents like so far I am known to do. And you support me in that, so it's a bad habit. You're an enabler.
That's what we're here for. We're here for the tangents.
All right. Well, I guess bye for now.